Hi guys, welcome back to the check-in. I'm sorry I've been absent from here for a little bit. I have been a little bit busy with a couple of things, which I may get into in another video, or maybe I won't, I'm not sure. I hope you're all doing very well. I'm doing okay, not too bad today, this present moment. Now, I wanted to just make a not too long of a video, maybe just 5 to 10 minutes, on the importance of confidence, belief in yourself, and doing some of the things, or trying to achieve some of the things that you really want to do in life. You will get people throughout your life that will tell you that you're no good, that you're stupid, that you're a moron, you're a fool, that you'll never achieve anything, you'll never be anything, you'll never do anything. And that can be true for some people. But I think for a lot of people it's not true, unless you let people decide. You let people decide who you are, what you are. And for a long time, I was like that. I certainly let people override my own thoughts and opinions and feelings about things, even though I knew better. Deep down, I knew better. People like to output their weaknesses and insecurities on other people, and try to make people feel or think or do as they do, as they feel, as they think. Unfortunately, the world isn't full of nice people, and I would say that really the majority of people out there aren't particularly nice, but they're not particularly bad either. They're just, a lot of people are just trying to get through life in the best way they can, and I understand that. But that doesn't mean that just because you're trying to survive that you're a nice person and you're doing whatever you can for your children or for your wife, your partner, your sick parents or whoever, whatever the situation may be. A lot of people are just living life to the best of in some ways to the best of their abilities, in other ways not so much. And then there's genuine people out there that are actually kind and nice, and in my opinion, decent people. That's not to say that the people that everybody else is necessarily different in. I mean, look, we're all here. We're all products of winning the race to the egg, obviously, and we've survived through all sorts of different scenario situations, partly because of our parents and partly because of ourselves, our friends and other people, all sorts of different things that have contributed to our survival. Luck, coincidence, taking opportunities, whatever, we're all here because of a number of different things that have happened. And I think that that's important to think about when people are telling you that you can't do things, you can't do this. I mean, that's not to say that there isn't things that you probably can't. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things that we probably can't do because we're limited by our intelligence and so forth, or by our interest in certain things. So it's not to say that everything is possible. I'm not saying that, because that's not true. We all have to realise that we're good at certain things and we're not so good at others. Yes, we can improve on them, but that doesn't mean that we're going to suddenly one day become a lawyer I mean, again, part of it's what do you want to do, and I guess some of it is about, perseverance and the ability to reach a goal regardless of what happens. But I think as well there has to be a level of realistic expectation on ourselves and the world and our intelligence and our abilities with our intelligence, our skills. And yes, you can improve and you can learn new skills, you can educate yourself, but that doesn't mean that you're going to become this or that. Certainly not overnight, and maybe not even at all. And that's okay, it's not, but that doesn't mean that you're stupid. That doesn't mean that you're not, that you're, void of a life. It just means that you'll just have to figure things out differently. And for a lot of people, their way of achieving things is not the conventional route. It's not the normal way of doing things, and that's fine. And that's where I fall into, in many regards. I don't like norms particularly, although I understand the need for them, and I understand why people tend to fall into those things and sometimes fall into the traps of them. And I'm no exception in some ways as well, because I do some similar things. But I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. But yeah, often people say things. Sometimes it's spur of the moment. Sometimes a lot of people don't always mean things they say. I think we have to take that into consideration, especially when people are drunk or having a bad day. We all like to rant. I'm one of those people. We all like to have a little bitch and a moan every now and again about all sorts of different things, or ourselves, or people around us. And sometimes we just don't have the energy to be positive, We're just not in the right frame of mind. Maybe our life isn't where we want it to be. And there's all sorts of things that can give people a bad attitude and put a downer on people. And we have to understand that. But if it's just a case of just that people are just trying to ridicule you, criticize you, mock you, and belittle you in every way, simply because they take pleasure from it, or because they just don't like you for whatever reason, even if it's not even logical, that's a different thing. If someone just decided that they just don't like your character, your personality, whatever, and in some ways in life, and sometimes that's justified because of things people haven't done, or things that people have said and they haven't done, or things that people have done, and so there's a lot of different things that contribute. But I think if it's a case of that people just feel that their insecurities are being highlighted by you trying to bet yourself, by you trying to do something about your life, then that's a very toxic thing to be around. And having been a toxic person in many ways, and having coming from a toxic family, certainly toxic parents, I say family in many ways, but certainly my parents, I can tell you that those things rub off on you, and over time you start to believe those things if you really take them to heart. And I've just found that if you're really committed to something that you really thoroughly want to do, that you're really interested in, you'll do it. Maybe not all the way through, but you'll do it to a certain. Maybe you'll reach a certain point. But I think that you can do your best with what you've got to do your best with what you've got, and one of the ways that you can get the most out of your life is to not let other people decide what your life is or should or shouldn't be, because it's not up to them, it's up to you in many ways. Although there's obviously other factors that have some level of control over what we can do and what we can't do, such as law, politics, all sorts of things like the culture that we're in, the society that we belong to, things that our community or society approves of, disapproves of. But to just give you an example, I went to a nightclub in Bangkok called The Commune, and it's in the Liberty Building, which is in Tonglo. Now, I haven't DJed. I've only ever DJed twice, and this was the second time. The first time was in China, and it was an absolute clusterfuck, and it really almost put me off for my entire life. However, this event that I just went to has changed that, and it's kind of made me more interested in actually wanting to DJ part-time rather than just a run-off gig here and there, but an actual, almost like a job really, part-time, which I would love to do if that opportunity comes along, or if I make that opportunity, you could say. And it was being there, and don't get me wrong, I was nervous, but I was prepared, and that's the thing. I think that's the most important thing, is if you're prepared enough and you really, and you boost your confidence. Because let me tell you, before I went on, because I had DJed for 1.5 hours, 1 hour 30 minutes. Before I went on, there was two DJs there, pretty good mixing, pretty good track selection. Crowd was enjoying it. And then it was my turn. I mean, these are people that have been playing a while, I think. And then it's my turn. Someone that's been sort of practicing on off, really, even though it's for software, for about 6 years or whatever. My turn to go on. I've only ever played in front of a crowd once. This was the second time. And as soon as I start playing, everybody disappears. And that didn't exactly fill me with confidence. However, after about maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, people started coming in again. And so it might not have been because of what I was playing. I don't know. Maybe they was just going out for a break or something. I'm not sure. Because it was the beginning of the set, things start to build up a bit later on. So eventually, there was a big crowd there, and maybe that's because the next DJ was coming on. I'm not sure, but I don't really know. But anyway, it was nerve-wracking, and I fucked up a little bit here and there, especially the first 2 or 3 tracks. But after that, I got into the zone, I guess you could say, and everything was pretty good. I mean, I played a pretty decent set. I read the crowd well. I didn't use as many effects as I would have liked to, but I was trying. I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't really know the mixer as well as I would. I wasn't as confident with the mix. But anyway, I'm going on and on. But that's something that I wanted to do for a long time, and I've done it, and I'm really happy and proud of myself for doing it, because I nearly didn't do it. On 2 or 3 times during the night, I nearly bottled it, and I nearly decided to not do it because I was so nervous and a bit overwhelmed by it all, and I felt a bit insecure, I guess you could say. But everything turned out all right in the end. It wasn't as best as I would have liked it to have been, but it was practice and it was experience, and I achieved something that I wanted to achieve. And now, I've had people put me down in my entire life, from people from school, from people through college, through being a child, even from my own family repeatedly. Some of it wasn't really meant, but some of it certainly felt like it was at the time. And from my ex, occasionally. And lots of people in life through work and all sorts of stuff. People tried to put me down, belittle me, make me feel like absolute shite. And for a while, I did feel like absolute shite, but now I don't, because I've moved on and I've become more confident in myself. Maybe that's because of age and just living, really, life experience. But a lot of it is ultimately about believing in yourself, I think. You've got to, if you genuinely have confidence that you can do something, I think you can do it. You might not, it might not be ideal, it might not exactly be what you think it is when you arrive at whatever whatever it is you want to achieve. But it's not even just about that. Sometimes it's just about the fact that you've realized something that you wanted to do. That you're able to set a goal and stick to it and see it out. That's the difficult part. That's the challenge. That's what it's really about. And so don't let people dictate your mind or even be your mind, because people love to do that. Unfortunately, like I said, a lot of people aren't particularly nice people. They might be decent, but they're not particularly nice. A lot of people would would happily stab you in the face if they got the opportunity. You know, if push came to shove, people would eat you alive, and people would rob you from you if it meant survival. You know, the thing is that there's different levels to civility. I think there's different levels of what's perceived in society and what's actually going on really behind the doors. You know, tolerance is one thing, but reality is very different. And there's people, of course, there's a lot of people have an agenda. I certainly had an agenda in the past. So nobody's perfect, and I'm certainly not perfect by any means. But by doing all of those things, I've tried to become a nicer person. I've tried to be a less shittier version of myself. That's took time. That's hard. But I am trying, and you know, I really suggest that other people try to do the same. You know, the world's hard enough as it is. It's difficult. It's already enough. It's already difficult to just live the process of living, aging. You know, just all of the different things all the shit you've got to jump through in life to get anywhere, to get anything done, especially in this time, this modern, super modernized era. You know, we don't need unnecessary bullshit, drama, and stress from people. So if people are in your life are bringing you those things more than anything else, tell them to fuck off. Just tell them to fuck off and get them out of your life as soon as you can. Thanks for watching, guys, or rather listening. And yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. You've got to be assertive. You've got to be in control at some point in your life. Because if you don't, people will see that you're not in control and will try to take control over you. I've had that myself many times before. That shit's not happening again. See you later. Bye-bye.